My name is Marilyn Dezelmain. I run a purity blog, iWaited blog, where I interview married couples and singles now who have waited until marriage to be intimate, and I'm interviewing also singles in their single walk of abstinence. And so I do these different interviews. I do different talks. I've written a devotional, a whole devotional, and I've written a whole devotional, and I just hosted my first live event last month. And God is doing a lot of things through this ministry of purity. And last week, I did this super impromptu. I mean, my hair was tied up. I have no makeup on, nothing. I came on y'all on Facebook and just really wanted to just talk about purity and the fact that so many people have these misconceptions about what purity is. Hi, Sabrina. About what this walk entails. And a lot of it's not true. A lot of it's stuff that, people have been taught, fire and brimstone, and you're going to hell. You will go to hell if you're fornicating. That's right. However, there is a way about walking in purity. And so I really wanted to just give an honest and open discussion about it. And then me and Tiffany, we kind of just collaborated behind the scenes when she saw the video, and just wanted to bring you guys just what I believe God is saying about purity in this, just in this season. And I think for our lives. And yeah, Tiffany.
Well, hey guys, my name is Tiffany Lavender, and I too have a purity ministry called Purity on Purpose, and I wrote a 25-day devotional as well, a devotional called Purity on Purpose. And so a little bit of history or the background behind that was I just decided that I kind of wanted to spread the news or spread the word about purity. And I know a lot of people have misconceptions about what purity is. A lot of people hear the word purity and kind of stray away from it.
Right.
And so that was my way of kind of getting the word out about what purity means, and then kind of getting people acclimated with how to live a pure life. And so each day of my devotional talks about different areas of purity, because a lot of people think that purity just pertains to your body, and that's completely not true. And we'll talk about that today too, but people just assume that it specifically just means, being pure with your body. And that's just one aspect. And so I kind of wanted to broaden people's minds in reference to the different aspects of purity, and how I live out a pure life, and I don't sit in the house and twiddle my thumbs, like I live a full, fulfilled life. And I live pure. So that's kind of where the devotional came from. And yeah, so I go and I speak to teens, men, women, anybody who will listen to and talk about purity. So that's a little bit about
me. Awesome. So just to kind of give a bit of background, so the video I did last week where I basically talked about the fact that people get the misconception about purity and it just being about sex. And I truly believe this walk of purity is one where God is purifying our hearts, purifying our lives, and then also turning our hearts back to Him, because we live in such a sex-crazed society, and one where everything, your whole life is based around finding the one and getting married and having kids and living out this Instagram life, and that's not what life is about. It's really our number one goal in this earth is to, first of all, glorify God. And then secondly, is to make disciples, to lead people back to Christ. And so we've gotten to this place where we've gotten off track. We've turned from our first love. We've turned from the God of our salvation. We've turned from the God of creation. And we've now turned all the attention onto making this one person our God, or this one situation our God, or we want to, have this life that's worthy, that people will want to call us goals. And that's not what it's about. And so we just wanted to have a few discussions. We have some things we wanted to discuss. And then we will also take questions from those that are watching. So if you have questions, you can definitely put them in the box. I'm going to try to take notes as questions come through. And then we'll definitely answer them as we go along. So Tiffany, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I'll start us off.
Okay.
So as you guys know, we're going to just be debunking some myths just about purity. So the first thing that I get all the time, like I mentioned before, is that purity simply means that you're just abstinent, or you're abstaining from sex, and you're just you're pure at that point because you're not having sex.
Right.
And that's completely far from the truth. I know a lot of people who are not having sex but are not pure, you know.
Right.
And at one point I thought that that's what it meant.
Mm-hmm.
And so until God kind of took me on this journey of, okay, let's really discover what purity really means. And a lot of times we claim a thing not really knowing all the information or the history or the background behind the thing that we claim.
Mm-hmm.
We'll say that we live such and such type of life, or
Right.
we claim X, Y, and Z, but we don't always know the history and the background. And so I think that it's very important for us to, before we tell you to be pure, we got to tell you the history and the background and all that good stuff behind it. So like I said, purity covers your thoughts, how you carry yourself, how you act, the things that you say.
Mm-hmm.
I like to give people a practical definition of purity, which is simply allowing God to remove hazardous things out of your life so that he can replace those areas,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yes.
And so if you allow God to remove hazardous things, which is not just the fact that you are having sex with people who you're not married to, that's one hazardous thing that can be hazardous to your life, but that's not
mm-hmm.
the only thing. What you see, what you digest, your eyes are like an eye gate. You know, it's
right.
like a way for you to digest things, just like our mouths are how we digest physical food.
Yeah.
Our eyes are another way that we digest things. So the things that we see and the things that we watch can cause us to be unpure,
mm-hmm.
because we end up acting out those things, regurgitating the things that we've seen, right? So we can be pure in what we see and also in our thoughts, right? We know that a lot of our actions start with our mind, start
right.
with the things that we think. And so we may say one thing, but we act a different way. I always believe people's actions versus what they say,
right.
because our actions speak louder than words, right?
Yes.
And so we have to remember that our actions have to carry out purity, just like what we say and what we do carries
mm-hmm.
out purity. So our actions have to really, really carry that out as well.
Yes.
So that's the first bit. I want to just chop it down. Okay, it's not just your body. That's one aspect. And don't let people make you feel like, because you're trying to start this purity journey, because you're interested in purity, that you have to be drilled or hit over the head with the Bible. You know,
mm-hmm.
that's definitely not what it's about.
Right.
We have to encompass every single area, and it's a growing process. It's a learning process. So a lot of times, if we have been having sex and now you know that that's the wrong thing to do and you have to stop doing that, it's a growing
right.
process. Now, yes, you have to have self-discipline, right? That's a fruit of the spirit. So self-control, self-discipline, you do have to have that, and that's what's going to help you kind of abstain from that area. But you have to have self-discipline in what you watch. If
right.
you have been watching things that are inappropriate, if you've
right.
been addicted to porn or something like that, you have to have self-discipline in that area, right. just as well as having self-discipline in the things that you say and the places that you go.
Mm-hmm.
So purity does not just pertain to your body. Hear me when I say that. It does not pertain just to your body,
right.
but it pertains to everything that encompasses you. You are not just your body, you're everything, right?
right.
You see, you hear, you talk, right? It encompasses all of those good things.
Right. And I think what I will add in Tiffany talking about your eyes is, a lot of people don't realize that so much of what we take in online, on TV, are things
right.
that literally slowly corrupt our minds, like slowly
right.
corrupt your mind. So I talk about this all the time. I had to stop watching the show Power. Because first of all, Mr. Omar is like so gorgeous. And secondly, I mean, that show was literally like soft porn. I was like,
right, like baby porn, straight baby porn.
I mean, y'all are, you need to just turn to the left and we're going to see everything, just everything.
Right.
And so I really had to stop watching that show because I was so convicted. Because I was just like, dude, I'm trying to stay pure and I'm watching this show and this ain't helping with staying pure, like at all.
Right.
And
right.
So I had to stop watching that show recently. And I was just telling someone this. I was scrolling. Well, I wasn't even scrolling. I opened up the Instagram app and, this guy that I follow, he does really great hair. Like, he does great hair. So I started following him because his wigs and his sew-ins are just the bomb. And he's really handsome, but he's not the type of guy that I like. So he's just handsome. And so I opened up the app and he had posted this picture where he was wearing these shorts and it was showing all his business. And I was like, sir, what are you doing? I'm here for hair, not for this.
Right.
So I got convicted and I was like, I don't really want to stop following him, but I don't want stuff like this to pop up on my timeline again.
Right.
Because I'm really visual, so my mind literally captures like pictures, situations, people without me trying. Like it just, I can't help it. And so I literally have like this photographic memory. And so I was like, I really wrestled within myself. I was just like, do I really want to stop following him? It's just one picture. It's not that bad. But I was like, what if I go back to his page to go look at a video and then I end up back on this picture? I was like, no, I got to stop following him. He can show up on my cover page, whatever, but I got to stop following him. But these are things, practical ways that if something really tempts you, like you're watching, you're hearing, or some type of music, I couldn't listen to the song by Kelly Rowland, Motivation, because I was just like, first of all, I have no one to motivate. Like, I just need to listen to the music. And so I couldn't listen to that song. So whenever it would come on, when I used to listen to the radio like that, I would stop watching because I was like, I can't listen to this. This is not helping me walk with purity. So these are things where people don't think it's that serious, but it really is, because those literally start to create like places where you're going to eventually end up falling, because you're going to hear that song that one time, and it's going to be that 1 week moment, and you're like, man, let me just call so-and-so. It's not really that serious. And then we got now where some of us are like, I'm just going to repent right after. No. What if God killed you in the middle of you doing your business? So these are things where we have to take those steps where it's like, do I want to gratify my flesh, or do I really want to glorify God with my life? I've had to make practical steps for me. Some people, they say they can listen to certain music or look at certain things and it doesn't affect them. But for me, because I'm visual, because music is my thing, I've had to stop listening to certain types of music. I've had to stop watching certain types of shows because I just can't. I'll start watching a series. It's so good. And then stuff starts happening in the series. And I'm like, man, I got to give up another series because they're doing foolishness and I just cannot watch this. So I think in the moment we have to give up temporary gratifications for the long-term effect of what we want. Like I've given up some of these shows temporarily, which I know maybe I'll be able to watch later. I don't know. But you have to give up certain things in the moment for the longevity of what you're trying to do. So purity is not just about not having sex. Like, guys, seriously.
It's so much more.
So much bigger than that.
And one thing that I like that you said, just about conviction, whatever your conviction is, like you said, that was convicting for you because you knew that it was going to tempt you to want to act out what you were saying. So that's very important, conviction.
Right. I think, and also one of the things we've talked about is purity being a choice.
Right.
So in making the choice to be abstinent, I literally had to wrestle within myself because, first of all, I never thought I'd be the type of person that would abstain from sex. Like, back in the day, I just really thought like, nope, people don't do this. This is not possible. First of all, how are you telling me to wait all the way until marriage to have sex? What if it's not good? What if I don't like them like that? Like, just all these different things. And I just thought like, it just was not possible. But when I got to the place where I really felt like God was convicting my heart, convicting me about fornicating. And I thank God that I never got settled in sin. Like, I never felt completely comfortable fornicating. And I know, for some people, it's like, it's not that serious. Even in all my saying it's not that serious, I never felt completely right in my heart knowing that I was having sex outside of marriage, if that makes sense. So I was thinking it was all right, but I didn't completely feel all right. And so when I got to the place where I knew God was calling me to abstinence and purity, I got to the place where I was like, I really want to do this, God, but I don't know how. Like, I literally didn't know how to, live a pure life or be abstinent. And I had to get to the place where I knew that I wanted God way more than I wanted sex. Like, I had to get to that place. And that was a choice. Like, I really wanted to be in a place where I was really pleasing God, because I knew that when I gave my life to God, I was going to be for real about it. Like, I was going to be for real about the fact that I wanted to serve him and I wanted him to be the number one person in my life. Hey, Kathy. And I wanted him to be the number one person in my life. And that's the choice you have to make. What is that thing that's going to make you stop going in that cycle of sin? Is God, for me, it had to be God is enough. Like, I don't know if God is not enough. And maybe that's the problem with a lot of our peers. God is not enough. He's not enough to say, nope, I'm not going, I love God too much to stop having sex with him. So that's the choice that I had to make. So I'm not sure about you, Tiffany. Like, how did you get to that? Hey, Jessica.
Well, for me, it definitely was a choice at an early age, but really understanding was when I got older. So like in high school, of course, I had heard the term purity and I was like, okay, I want to do that. But like I said, at that point, my understanding of what purity wasn't in its full development. Like I didn't understand what purity was. And then when I grew to understand what purity was, I loved God so much. And I wanted everything that God had for me. I didn't want to miss out on anything. So I said, okay, God, what is it that you need me to get? What is it that you need me to understand? How is it that you want me to live my life? Because everything that you have for me, I want to get. And so that's when my knowledge and my understanding of purity grew. And I understood that purity and God's way, Christianity, a Christ-centered life, went together. It wasn't two separate things.
Right.
It wasn't, okay, you're a Christian, and now there's just something else that we're adding to the plate. This is a part of being a Christian. This is a part of living how I desire for you to live. And so once I got that concept down and put it into practice, because it's one thing to get the concept to understand what God wants you to do, but it's another thing to put it into practice, right?
Exactly.
So once I got it and then decided to put it into practice, then that's when my love for purity grew, because I think that you have to have a love and a passion for it. Like, but it grows and it develops with your love and your passion for God.
Right.
And so, like you said, you have to want God, and God has to be enough for you.
Right.
For God you live, for God you died. Like you become a new creature, right? So you old things have passed away. So the old Tiffany who I knew, the things that Tiffany used to do, the places Tiffany used to go, the things that Tiffany thought was okay, died. It was not, didn't exist anymore. And I had to develop a new creature. Like I had to develop into a new creature or into a new person, which was the person who was like, no, God, I'm for real about this. No, God, look, what you got for me? I know that your plans for me are great. And so look, I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to be my own stumbling block. I don't want to get in the way of that, God. So look, I just surrender, and I'll do whatever it is that you desire for me to do. Yeah. And I'll walk this thing out called purity to the best of my abilities. I'll walk it out. You know?
Yeah.
So that was how I made that choice.
Yeah. And I think Valencia said something here. She said, if you start seeking God, you will feel uneasy about a lot of things that's not right. And that is listen, Holy Spirit won't let you rest. When you really got the Holy Ghost, he will not let you rest if you're
not let you rest.
Foolishness.
Right.
Man, I was doing foolishness. And God will literally not let you rest when, first of all, you're in a place where you're saying, I'm a Christian, I love God, and I'm following him. And then you out here in the streets doing foolishness. God's like, no, you're not going to be a bad representation of me and what I'm doing. Right. And so that right there, when you start seeking him, when you say, God, for real, I'm going to follow you, God is going to see if you're really serious about what you're saying. Like he's going to make sure you're serious about what you're saying. And so that is so, so good.
Right. And I think, like, once again, like you said, the Holy Spirit will not let you rest. That conviction, the Holy Spirit will convict you, but only if you allow it to convict you, right? Like sometimes we can kind of ignore it. We can shake it off because we desire to keep doing what we want to do. Sometimes we can shake it off. But when we get serious and we're like, okay, I can't play no more. I can't run no more. That spirit will convict you. The Holy Spirit will definitely convict you and tell you when you're wrong. It will tell you when you're making mistakes. It will tell you prior to, not even in the midst. It will tell you prior to, you don't need to text them. You don't need to go over there. Matter of fact, you don't need to wear that.
Exactly.
You probably don't need to be acting like that. You probably don't need to say that. Yeah. It definitely will convict you, but you have to let it. You have to let that spirit convict you, because a lot of times we can, like I said, we can shake it off. We can be like, I'm ignoring you. I'm going to fulfill my own will. Right. But once again, it goes back to you wanting to do God's will versus your will.
Right. Yes, that's awesome. And so
go ahead. You got another myth?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So another myth, let's see. So we talked about how it's a choice and how it's not just only pertaining to your body. And so another thing is that purity is for men too. I get that all the time. Like, and especially, I just think we just talk about it with our young women a lot.
Yes.
Or they
beat them over the head.
Hear it versus men, they may just they just don't hear it as much. Mm-hmm. But purity is for men too, y'all. Yes. It is definitely for men. Only because guess what? We gotta marry somebody, right? These women who are out here being pure, like we eventually gotta marry somebody. We're we're matched, we're mated with somebody, right?
Yes.
So it is definitely for men as well.
Yeah.
Men's purity looks very similar to our purity, right? They're still abstaining. Right. They're still being careful with, what they say, what they do. Mm-hmm. Their purity does not differ from our purity. Right. It looks exactly the same. I think a lot of women just assume that purity is just for the woman or just for the woman who's trying to be a wife.
Right.
Which is now purity is for everybody, not just for the women who are trying to be wives. Right. But it's for everybody because we have to be matched, paired with somebody, and purity doesn't necessarily just stop when we're married. Right. So it's definitely for men too. And we got to do a better job with encouraging our men to speak in reference to that purity. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I love that you're doing interviews with men who are abstaining from sex, men who are bold in talking about their purity, because we just don't get to hear from them that much. We get to hear from women every once in a while, and men is just every blue moon, right? So we definitely have to encourage our men to speak up, be bold, and give them the information so that they know, oh, okay, this is what purity is. Okay, it's not just something that I don't really, that's confusing,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I think what I will add is always, the thing that I always hear from men is that it's so much easier for women to wait, and for men it's just not possible, whatever.
I mean, what? I mean, no.
Annoying. Because first of all, we're sexual beings just like men are, and we like sex just like men do. I don't understand why men think it's just that much easier for us. But like you said, I did want to add a component where I interview men who are waiting, because I feel like, and someone that I'm friends with on Facebook, I think it was today, she posted about men now directing their attention to other men and teaching them, because we have all these men relationship experts and all they talk to are women, because first of all, that's a good marketing. You're going to be able to sell your products. Why don't you talk to the other men, if you're a man of integrity and all this good stuff, and talk to the other men and help them get in line? So that's one of the biggest things, one of my biggest pet peeves is all these men who call themselves coaching women, but who are you coaching them for? Because none of the men are being coached.
Right.
None of the men have empowerment seminars, and none of the men have these things that are preparing them to be husbands. Yet we have all these conferences that are preparing women to be wives, and whatever, all this stuff, and empowering them and rah-rah and all this good stuff. And no one's preparing the men. And so I really wanted to get to a place where I start talking to men, because I do know men that are waiting, and good men who love God and are truly submitted to him. And I know a lot of us know them, and men don't talk about it. So they'll be waiting and nobody will know. And, and they don't talk about it, I guess, because it's not as acceptable. I'm not really sure what it's about.
Maybe.
But I just did an interview right before this where I have to edit the video, but I did an interview where I did talk to a man who is waiting, and he's in ministry, and someone who's walking in integrity, and someone whose life is truly submitted to God, and that there are men like that around, and there are men who will treat you like God has called him to treat you, and there are men who will rise up and be the priest of your household, and there are men who will love you like God has called him to love you, like the church. And so we have to get to a place where we don't get weary in the wait, knowing or thinking that it's never going to happen for us, or that God isn't going to send that man. He is. We don't see it as much on display, but there are men that are truly love God, and that are waiting to show him his wife, or show him who his wife is. Hey, Courtney. And hey, Brittany and Valencia. And so I really want us to get to a place where we not, first of all, stop calling men who are waiting gay. I don't know where we get this thing from, where we basically beat down men who are waiting. We want them to So if they're
Right.
not chasing every woman, that's a good thing. It doesn't mean that
Right.
they're gay. It doesn't mean that they don't like women. It means that they actually are waiting on God, because I know a lot of men who go from woman to woman to woman. Hey, God said you're my wife, just so they can get what they want.
Oh, Lord.
So if you see a man that is truly, in the waiting process, even if he's not the person for you, I say encourage him in the wait.
Right.
And even motivate him in the wait, and just, kind of, I think, build up that person within him in that waiting process, because I don't think it's easy. I don't think it's easier sexually for them, but I think it is harder for them waiting, because in our society, they're supposed to be like these hunters, and they're supposed to like knock down every woman that they see and get every woman that they see. And when a man is holding himself and keeping himself, we have to be, as women, the people that will encourage them and say, hey, I see you as a man of integrity. I see you as a man who really loves God. And man, I think that's so awesome. And I really believe that God is going to bless you with your wife. I say that to my homies all the time. You're a man of integrity, and I really believe that God is going to send you a great wife, because you are going to be a good husband. Just because they're not for me don't mean I can't still build them up and still say good things to them, because they are still men that are walking in integrity, and men that are good men. So yeah, we have to build each other up. Like this walk is not easy. It is so not easy. It's so not easy being abstinent. It's so not easy living a life that truly honors God, and where you want to be someone that that shows God's glory in this earth. So if you see your brother, your sister, they're walking this walk, if they're struggling, build them up, encourage them, send them scripture, whatever. Don't beat down other people in this walk of purity, please. I don't know why I felt the need to say that, but just whatever it is, whoever it's for, grab it. That's it.
Right. And I actually have a funny story just in reference to men walking in purity. The first time I really was like, okay, I'm gonna write this book about purity. I actually was at like kind of like a youth kind of retreat locking kind of thing. And there was a guy, and he was doing a session about purity. And when I tell you my mind was blown, I was just like, I just never really met a guy who was like bold enough to come out and stand in front of these people and talk about his purity with a purity ring on, like straight, and was straight talking and giving practical tips about purity.
Yeah.
And I was just so encouraged. And like you said, it's very important for us to be around like-minded people, because this journey definitely gets difficult, right? It gets hard. It is not the easiest at times. But because he was so positive, and because he was so enthused about it, like he was like, yes, purity all the way. Like I'm down. Like purity is my life. This is what I do, and I'm not afraid to say that.
Yeah.
And I think that we become timid to talk about purity, and we become afraid to talk about purity because the world says differently, right? The world makes men feel like, oh, you wasn't with so and so, and then you're not moving on to the next person, and you not, like the world makes you feel like that's weird, or that's wrong, or you are crazy for doing that, But if you have like-minded people around you, you won't really pay attention to what the world says, because you're around like-minded people. You're allowing iron to be sharpened, right? Yeah. So iron sharpens iron. You're around people who are encouraging you, like, no, we got to hold it down because we want what God has for us. No, we're not going to do that because we want to live a pure life. We want our actions to line up with what we say. So I want to encourage y'all. Yeah, definitely there are men out there who are waiting. Don't bash them. Don't make them feel like they are doing something wrong, whether you are a Christian or a non-Christian. If somebody does respect their decision to be pure, especially for our men, we got to encourage them. We know that as women, one of our traits that we are really, really good at is encouraging. We are able to say a thing and really make somebody change their perspective on things. Yeah. That's one of our characteristics that women just in general have. So we definitely got to build up our men, encourage them to speak about, one, how good God's been in their life, so that it can kind of flow into, yes, this is the life that I'm living because, yeah, God has been good to me. Yeah, I did give my life over to Christ. Okay, yeah, this is how I live, you know? So we definitely got to encourage our men, and we want our men to be encouraged and stay encouraged.
Yes. So. And one of the things Tiffany talked about was accountability. In this walk of purity, you have to have people around you that are going to encourage you in your walk of purity.
Right.
If you have the homegirl that's going to be like, nah, I'm not about this waiting life, and I just think you're dumb for doing it, you're probably not going to wait for that long, because
Right.
you're going to feel like you're dumb for doing it. And
right.
to be in a place where when I first started abstaining, I prayed and asked God to send me people that would be on the same path that I was on, because I really wanted to do this. But if I was hanging with my friends that was telling me about their sexcapades every other night, I mean, hello, I'd be wanting to have, go in on those sexcapades myself. So I really got to a place where God literally just started sending people. Not even that I went looking for friends that were waiting, but it just he kind of just drew people to me. And I got to a place where I started looking around. I was like, oh, it's a lot of people waiting. Because before, I just felt like I was the only one on the island by myself. There was nobody waiting. And because my friends that I had from, school and things like that, that's not what we were on when I was in school. So when I got to a place when I wanted to change my life, I had to ask God to send me people whose lives were changed as well. So you have to get to a place where you first ask God to pray and ask God to send you people that will keep you accountable. And then secondly, you have to remain accountable to those people. So accountability is intentional. So you can't be accountable to someone if you don't want to be accountable to them. So I have several different chats, a lot of different chats. And in my chats, I have friends that will come in and say, hey, me and my boyfriend, we were waiting, but we had sex. And then we all rally around them. Y'all can do this. This was a fall. Okay, get back up. Ask God for forgiveness. Repent. And then keep going. It's not a moment to beat them up about the fact that they had sex. We knew that they had the intention of waiting. So go ahead and encourage them in the fact that they can do it and that they will do it. And so you have to have those types of groups where if you feel like you're about to call that one person that you always call and you really don't want to, go into your chat and say, hey, I really want to call so-and-so. I don't want to do it though, but I really just feel like this urge to do it. Then you have those friends that'll be like, it's not worth it. Don't call him, erase his number, block him, whatever you need to do to make sure that you stay in a place of abstinence and purity. So accountability is key. It
definitely is key. I definitely don't know where I would be without my accountability.
Mm-hmm.
They are on here now, and I'm like, yeah, keep me accountable. They know, and vice versa. I keep them accountable as well. Having a community of people who are like-minded, who are going to definitely tell you, no, that's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times we like to have people around us who will tell us, yeah, girl, okay, it's okay. Just come on, you can ask for forgiveness. We like to have people who are going to tell us what we want to hear. And that's not okay. If they're your real friends, they're going to tell you the truth, regardless of whether it's what you want to hear or whether it's what is not what you want to hear. But you got to have people who are going to stick to it. They're going to have to stick to you, and you're going to have to stick to them.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we just think like, oh, it's okay for us to just do whatever, and not really recognize what the root or the core issue is. A lot of times we may be wrestling with certain things, and we need our friends to be, because our eyes can't see it. So we need our accountability to be like, okay, not only is this a really, really a big struggle for you, but maybe you're dealing with something in addition to, this just being a struggle. Like, let's get down to why is it so hard for you to wait? Maybe it's because you're dealing with the spirit of lust. Maybe it's because you feel like you are comforted when you are with a male. Maybe it's because you feel like this is the only way that you can find worth. So sometimes there are underlying issues that are attached to the reason why it is so difficult for us to wait. But because we have those people around us, because we have our accountability, their eyes, when they put their eyes to it, when they see, this is a pattern for you. When they're able to kind of notice what is going on within you, they're able to call those things out. So that's very important for you to keep in mind, to be accountable to your friends, but also be able to notice patterns, pick up on things that maybe are underlying issues.
Yes, and that's so good. And I think what you brought up a good point in noticing the patterns. And I want to say, as you're coming in, if you could share the video with your followers, Please, please,
Yes,
please.
share.
One of the things you said was noticing the patterns in your life. And the reasons why you always go back to a certain person, or the reason why you maybe pick up different people to have sex with. So there are people, you have a void. There's a void there, and there's a reason why you continue, that you feel like you can't stop having sex, or that you need to give it up. For some people, it's like, hey, this I think this is the only way I can get somebody to like me. This is the only way I can get someone to, notice me, or, this is the only way that this person's going to stay with me if I continue to have sex with them. So you have to notice why you do the things that you do, why you would rather put your life in danger of being sent to hell than to obey God. Right. Like, why would you put your salvation on the line for somebody? Like, no one on this planet is worth me going to hell. Like, I mean, no one on this planet is worth it. And so you have to get to a place where you know that God is bigger than this whole sex thing. Is sending a lot of people to hell, and it's not worth it. It's not worth it. 15, 20, 30, whatever minutes it is. It's not worth your soul. It's not worth you dying and going to hell. It's not worth you being separated from your fellowship with the Father because you're in sin. When we're in sin, we can't fellowship with God. We can't really be in communion with him because he literally cannot stand sin. He cannot stand us being in sin. And so what on this planet is worth your relationship with God? Like, there should be nothing. So that's a really good point that you brought up. I think another myth that I've seen is that your body count or your lack thereof determines how long you're going to be waiting. So some people think like, oh, if I'm a virgin or I've only been with one person, then, God is going to send me my husband quicker because, I have a low body count. Wrong. God send the person who's had multiple to the point where they can't count partners. He can send them a husband in 6 months, and meanwhile you're a virgin or you've only been with one person and you're still waiting years later, because there's a difference in God looks at the heart. The Bible tells us that every time. Man looks at the outward appearance, God looks at the heart. So meanwhile, you're looking at that girl because you think she's been with 1,000 people and she's dirty and she's all of this, but she has a heart that really goes after God, and she's really committed to him. She really loves God. She's truly somebody that's seeking God's face. Meanwhile, you're somebody that thinks you're pure and holy and all this good stuff, but you have a negative heart. You live a life that's a mess. You live a life that's not submitted to God. God, he can bless you in any situation, but there are times where he's going to bless you according to your obedience. He's going to bless you according to the capacity that you have. The girl that's been with 1,000 people may have given up her 1,000 5 days ago, but she really has turned her life around and actually has repented, because the thing people don't understand is repenting doesn't mean you just say sorry and then you go back out and do it again. Repenting means you turn away from the things that you were doing and you turn to God. So people keep talking about they're repenting every day, yet your life hasn't changed. That's not true repentance. And so don't be one of those people that draw to God with your mouth, but your heart is really far from him. And so just because you have a low body count or you think you're more holy than somebody, that doesn't mean you deserve to be married ahead of someone who you think is dirty or who's out there or who she was, a thought or whatever. Because people do have these thoughts where they think they're above or they're better than somebody or they deserve something more than someone else just because they've been waiting longer or they've had less partners or they've had no partners, and you think you deserve to have a husband ahead of a girl who, has dated everybody on the planet. You don't. God does not measure. First of all, our measurements don't even compare to God's measurements.
Not the same.
Not the same at all. And so you cannot be comparing yourself to someone and thinking that you deserve something just because you've measured yourself and you think you're up here, when really God may really see you down here, but you think you're up here. And that person that you think is down here is really up here. And so we have to get to a place where we stop measuring ourselves against other people. Your only measurement is Jesus Christ.
Right.
Are you living like him? Are you talking like him? Are you treating other people like him? Are you loving other people like him? Are you acting like him? Though that's your measurement. We keep keeping our eyes on other people when really we need to put our eyes on Jesus and say, "Hey, sir, like, what do I need to do better? How can I be better?" Like, that's the measurement there.
And like you said, and I guess on the flip side of that, if you are waiting, and regardless of how many partners you've had, waiting is not a punishment. If you feel like you've been waiting for a long time, and you just feel like, okay, well, everybody's getting married and everybody's getting the things that I want or I desire. Where I've been waiting, I've been doing right. Where's my stuff? You know, waiting is not a punishment. For those who feel like, you know, I've been waiting and I should be ahead of that person. Like, they skipped me in line. There's no line. There's no tickets. Like, that doesn't exist. But waiting is definitely not a punishment.
Yes.
And I think that nobody is above or beneath waiting.
Yeah.
You know, nobody gets to decide how God does things. Nobody gets to decide when God's timing is right or when it's wrong. He decides that.
Right.
So waiting is not a punishment. You don't, just because you waited for a long time doesn't put you ahead of anybody else, doesn't put you behind anybody else, doesn't make you the same as anybody else. We have to understand that God's ways and his thoughts and his ideas and his plans are not the same as ours. And so like you said, we cannot compare ourselves to other people, because that will get you in trouble. That will really put you in a place that will push you back mentally, and put you in a place where you could have been a lot farther along, but because you've been comparing yourself to other people, because you've been saying, okay, well, let me do this because I think they did that and I can get that too. You know, you'll compare, and you'll push yourself back instead of pushing yourself forward.
Right.
So don't think that waiting is a problem or an issue. Just know that you're waiting because your cake is not finished being baked.
Right.
You know, because what your good thing, your final product, has just not been finished. It's just not ready for you.
Right.
And when you get ready and your cake get ready, or your spouse gets ready, or whatever it is that you desire gets ready, then you guys will meet.
Yeah. And I think another thing is when you know that God's plans are literally good, when you know that God's plans are literally good, and that God sees the end. We only see the right now. God literally sees the end. And we're in this place where we want something right now, and God's like, no, there's something else I'm doing, or there's a situation I'm orchestrating, or there's this move I have for you coming up, or there's something that God is working out in your life. It doesn't always mean that you're not ready, you're not perfect yet, or that person's not perfect yet. But there's sometimes God has things that he's orchestrating in the background that require a waiting season. That requires for you to wait another year. That requires for you to wait a little longer. That requires for you to move to another city, because maybe the person you're supposed to marry isn't in this city. Or maybe it requires that your job is going to send you on a work trip in 6 months, and that's where you're going to meet your spouse. So you got to wait those 6 months. Like, there's so many factors that come into us waiting, where we're just thinking about the right now, and God's like, no, I got something in the works. And here's the thing, what God has in the works is amazing. Amazing.
It's not mediocre.
It's not
mediocre
at all. God is about giving you that good life, that good stuff. And so, you know, and I really believe that. So people, you know, we have to trust the God that we believe in. I trust God with everything. And I don't say that just to say, I really, really trust him. Like, I really trust that God is going to give me the absolute best husband on the planet, that God is going to give me the best businesses on the planet. He's going to give me the best opportunities. I'm going to walk into the best doors. Like, I'm going to have the best bank accounts, the best. Like, I really believe that. And so that's why I can be in a place where I can rest in him. You can rest in God when you truly believe that he is the God that he said he is. Like, when you truly believe that he is the father that he says he is. A father provides, he protects, he guides. Like, he gives you all of the good things. And so when you know God as a father, like, he is going to give you the good stuff. He is going to give you the things that he knows you deserve, and he's going to give you even beyond what you deserve. So you guys, you have to get to a place where you trust him with everything in your life. I'm not worried about, you know, is my husband going to have this certain amount of money? Is he going to be, we got to be honest, ladies. We worry about, is he going to be the good, nice size that I need or whatever,
right.
like these
right.
things, or is he going to look the way I want, or the height? Trust him with everything. Everything that you, listen, my friends make fun of me because my stuff is so specific. My prayers are so specific.
You say be specific with your prayers now.
Oh, them things are specific. Do you hear me? So I list out everything. My friends think it's hilarious, but I said, when I get the man, the exact man that I pray for, nobody's gonna be like,
right.
No one's gonna be laughing. And the exact things, and it's not just about the man, but I pray about money, businesses, things I want to do in my life. I'm very specific because I serve a specific God. God
right.
is really specific in the things that he does. So when you have something that's worrying you or that is causing you panic concerning your future, take that thing to God. I really take everything to him. I'm like, listen, sir, I am really worried about the fact that I am waiting and there's no one around, or nobody looks like what I think they should look like. I take those things to him in prayer, and I say, this is what I desire. This is what I want in a husband. This is how I want my husband to act. This is how I want my husband to treat me. I talk about the fact I want a husband that cooks. I don't want to be the only one cooking in my house every single day. So I want a man that cooks. So I pray about those things. I want a man that's going to take care of our children, that's going to share the responsibilities of our household. I pray about those things. So you guys, we're sitting here worried and twiddling our thumbs, worried about certain things. The Bible says, do not be anxious for anything. That's been my life verse right now. Do not be anxious for anything, but by prayer and supplication, make your request known to God, and the peace of God that transcends all understanding will guard your heart and mind in Christ Jesus. And the word, in one of the translations I saw, it said, the peace of God will garrison your heart and mind. And the word garrison means a group of troops that guards a town. And the vision God gave me was literally his peace surrounds your heart and your mind, and it literally guards your heart and your mind to keep you from worrying about those things that we worry so much about. So God literally has the ability to keep those worries and those things away from you. So God wants to protect us. He wants to guard us. He wants to give us his peace, but we have to allow him to do it. So guys, we don't have to worry. When you serve the true and living God, you don't have to worry about anything, because he is going to take care of you, because you are his daughter, you are his son, he loves you, and he wants to give you the absolute best. When you have parents that really truly love you, they want you to have the world, and God wants to give you the world. All right, I'm going to stop preaching.
Preach, ma'am. Go on and preach to the people.
But yeah, listen, that's what I got. All right, Tiffany, go ahead.
Look, you didn't preach to the people. I don't got nothing else to say. You didn't preach. You didn't preach. You didn't preach, but you said something really good. You said good things. We don't have to worry. We definitely don't have to be fearful. Mm-hmm. We don't have to operate in any of those things, because like you said, we have to trust the God. God's not a man, so he does not lie. And so if God says he's going to give you something, if God promised you something, if God says it, then it shall come to pass. And so if God has given you basic promises of, I will exalt you, I will take you from here to there, I will make you a wife, I will make you a husband. If you've already received those promises as yours, you don't have to worry about him maybe taking it back, or it's taking too long, so maybe he changed his mind. God's not a man, so he cannot lie. If he says a thing, if he decrees a thing, it's done in the earth, and that's it. You know, so we can lean and depend on God's words. We can trust and stand on his word, because we know that it will be true.
Yes. All right. So let's see, what else do we have? So some people think that abstaining prepares you for marriage. So we're going to try to wrap it up, because I think we've been on here for a minute, right?
Okay.
I don't know what time
it got good to us.
50 minutes?
Got good to us.
Oh my gosh, guys, we've been talking for a long time. Okay.
Right.
So one of the things, people think that abstaining prepares you for marriage. Abstaining does not prepare you for marriage. That's just one aspect of you going into marriage.
Right.
And that's the thing with me. Like, I thought I was gonna be waiting when I decided to abstain. I was gonna be waiting one good year. God was gonna send me my husband. I was gonna get married. It was gonna be great. In 7 whole years. All right, 7 years. And listen, has not been.
Get it, girl.
And so God has got me into a place where he's been processing my heart and processing so many things that happened in my childhood and my past relationships, where I was going to be bringing all that baggage into marriage, putting expectations on my husband where he had nothing to do with, or being upset about certain things, or certain things will probably trigger me into think he's going to act a certain way just because someone else did that. And so you have to get to a place where first you're abstaining, but then ask God to process you and show you those things from your past. I started asking God to show me things from my childhood and my past that will hold me back from marriage. And listen, God did not hold back, okay?
You said it, you asked it, so he gave it to you.
He gave it to me. And he showed me my whole little life, showed me that I need to get it together, showed me, like, just the way that I talk. And I mean, I put a post up the other day. I normally have an answer for everything. If you come to me with something and I don't like it, I'm going to tell you. And I may have an attitude about it. And God's just like, you can't act like that with a husband and a man. And so just the different types of things that God is doing in my life. And I'm grateful because I really want to go into marriage and not have to, I know there's going to be things that's always going to happen in marriage, but there's certain things that I'm going to already go in, like, you need to be careful about the way that you talk, the way that you act, and the way that you handle people, because I know that I have to handle, first of all, knowing that this man is God's son and that God loves him. Just because I think women, sometimes we forget that not only are we the prize, but men are also the prize. We're not just the only prize in this situation. You have to treat him like he has a father, because he does. We have a father and he has a father. So, God had to process those things out of me. Just because I'm abstaining doesn't mean I'm automatically ready for marriage. I still need to get my money together. I still need to get my mind right. I still need to get my intentions and my heart right, and just the way that I do things, in the way that I speak, just getting so many of those things right, and learning how to, I didn't have to learn how to keep a house. My mother taught me, but some women don't know how to keep a house, don't know how to do certain things. Some men don't know how to change tires and things like that. And I prayed about that too. I need a man that knows how to do those types of things, because I don't.
All right.
Okay. I don't like pumping my gas. I prayed about God sending me somebody who's going to pump gas every day. Like, I'm not playing. I pray about everything. So, there's certain things we have to learn before we get into marriage. You not sex doesn't mean you're prepared for marriage. Okay?
Right.
All right.
Not at all. Okay, one more quick thing in reference to that, and then we'll sorry, y'all. We'll take questions, or we'll go on from there. Yeah. But purity means that you become a holistic person. Not, you just don't become whole so you can be a wife.
Right.
You become whole so that you can be a good wife, but so that also you can be a good entrepreneur, or a good millionaire, or a good person all together. Like, you're not just being pure with the intention of just being a wife, or with an intention of just being a husband, and you just think that qualifies you, or gives you a pass to go ahead and get married. No, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
It qualifies you to be a good person so that you can go on and do good things.
Yeah, so good. All right. So I don't know. I think we've gone through our questions, but if you want, we'll open up for questions, for some quick questions. If you guys have any questions for us, let me see. I don't think there were any questions. I think people were commenting, right? If I could.
Right. I don't think I saw any.
Okay, so if you guys have any questions, you can put them in there quickly. If not, we will shut it down. But I really loved the discussion. It was so good.
This was really good. It was really a blessing. I know it was a blessing for me. And so I pray that it was a blessing for those who are watching, those who are going to watch, those who are, going to watch it a year from now, a day from now, a month from now. I pray that it's going to be a blessing to them, because I think some real good knowledge was shared on tonight.
Yeah, it was really good. And so I will say that if you guys have any questions, even after this, you can inbox me or Tiffany. We're always open to praying for you guys, to definitely interceding for you, because we know that this walk is not easy. It's not easy to walk in purity, and we want to help as many young adults, teens, whoever, older women, older men, to get to a place where this walk gets a little easier. I don't think it ever gets to a place where you're completely like, yeah, I'm doing this, and I just got it all. No, because it's a day by day, moment by moment decision you make to obey God in your life, with your body, with your mind, with your heart, and with all of your intentions. So if you ever have any time, or ever have a place or a time where you feel like you're gonna fall, or you're gonna do something crazy, and you don't have accountability partners, hit us up. Our inbox is always open. We will pray for you. We will seek God's face for you, and we will do whatever it is we can do to help you remain in a place of abstinence and purity. So yeah. So what do God think about two people that have kids and later they get married? Okay. Who have kids and they later get married? Well, I personally believe that God redeems any type of situation. So I have friends. I have a friend specifically who was with her boyfriend for like 8-9 years or something. She was on here earlier, and they had a daughter.
Writing down the other question so we won't lose it. Go ahead.
They had a daughter, and then she was pregnant with their second daughter, like not less than a year later. In the midst of her being pregnant with their second kid, she decided, I want to be abstinent. God convicted her at some point, and she said, I want to be abstinent. So she went to her boyfriend. She said, I don't want to have sex anymore. I want to be abstinent until we get married. But they weren't engaged at that point. And so he agreed. He wanted to be with her. He agreed. And so months later, he proposed to her and they got married. They've been married. They just hit 2 years in April. So God can redeem any situation. Now, I don't know if you're saying they had kids together, never waited, and got married. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, I believe that God honors marriage, even if you didn't start off the right way. You know what I mean?
Right.
I really believe that God honors marriage, and he honors you going into covenant with that person. So I hope that answers your question.
Right. And you can still operate in purity.
Right.
Doesn't matter.
And within your marriage, purity, yes. Yeah. Purity is just not a single thing. Purity is a lifestyle. So when we say purity, it means as a wife, you should have a pure mind towards other men. You should have a pure heart. You should have pure eyes and ears. So it's not just a single thing. It's when you go into marriage as well.
Right.
Yeah. How do you confidently pursue purity after you've fallen publicly? So what? Yeah, go ahead, Tiffany.
Okay, I'll jump in and then you come in after me. I feel like the thing that sticks out to me is because you said after a public fall, a lot of times we'll allow how other people feel about the decisions that we've made to affect how we progress or how we continue on with this Christianity walk or with the purity walk. So one thing is you have to know that your confidence in being pure is not because other people clap for you or say hooray for you or say, oh my gosh, it's so great that you're being pure, because there are going to be times when people will not do that towards you, and you'll have to still be pure. Like on the days when people are not clapping for you, on the days that people are not cheering for you and giving you smiles about the decision of being pure, you have to know that I'm not doing this for man, I'm not doing this for people, but I'm doing this for God. So on those days, I know that God's still clapping for me. I know that God's still smiling. I know that God's still giving me those thumbs up. Yeah. And so even after a public fall, like she said, you have to know that you've been redeemed. You have to know that you are not your past decision or your past mistake or your past in general. So you know that you're not your past. You know that you are walking this thing out. You're doing it right now, and that's all that matters.
Yeah. And another thing I will say with the falling publicly is you have to accept God's grace. Right. The public may not give you grace for falling publicly, but you have to accept God's grace. And I think that's what's going to help to heal your heart and heal you in that situation.
That's good.
Because people are so mean. They're just, they're mean for no reason. So people are mean, especially if they may have been like jealous of your situation or whatever. They're going to really rejoice in the fact that you're hurting or that you fell and that things didn't work out. But you have to get to a place where, first of all, you know that God did something in that situation. So if he, if you learn from that situation, if God brought you some type of different process in that situation, then he did something in that. Learn from it and move on, and don't allow people to make you feel condemned. Like, no one has the right to judge you. No one has the right to condemn you. No one has the right to throw stones at you, because we've all fallen short of the glory of God. We've all sinned. The main thing is you not staying in that sin, you repenting, and you turning away from whatever happened, and then you allowing God to process you, you allowing God to help you learn the lesson, and then you move forward. All you can do is move forward. People are going to talk. That's going to happen. I mean, people are going to talk whether you like it or not, but
you can't get around that.
Yeah, you can't get around it. So just allow God to process you in it, and ask for his forgiveness and accept his forgiveness and his grace and his mercy that he's extending to you, and move forward. That's it. So, yeah. Appreciate running across both of you. Thank you, Valencia. Thank you guys so much for watching. Robin, Ashley, Danielle, William, Rutledge, my mentor, Elder Rhonda Ferguson Lewis is on here. So we thank you guys so much for watching.
Yes.
My name is Mary May, and I run a purity blog, iWaited blog. I recently wrote a purity devotional, 21 Days of Prayer and Purity, and it's available on Amazon. So you can search Purity, the Real Deal. The website is www.iwaitedblog.com, iwaited.blog.com. And yeah, catch me on Instagram. Every social media platform is iWaited blog. Tiffany?
And I'm Tiffany Lavender. You can follow me on all the social media platforms as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just Tiffany Lavender.
Yeah.
And you can also find my book on Amazon as well. It's on sale right now. So for those who are watching, you better go and get it because it's on sale.
Yes.
But you can definitely get it on Amazon. And if you want to get any of the Purity on Purpose apparel, you can DM me on any of the social media outlets, and I will give you directions on how to get Purity on Purpose shirts and any additional apparel that we may have in the offering.
Yes. And make sure you guys share this video with all of your followers, and just let everyone know that the conversations that we're having, we'll be back with something else. I don't know what else me and Tiffany will come up with, but we'll be back.
We're going to cook something up in the kitchen.
Right. So yeah, we really enjoyed you guys. Thank you so much for watching. We went over a little bit, but we're good. We'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye, guys.